I didn't know anyone could do that. I thought that was something reserved for special people with special talents that, touched by God or something like that. And here I was in a room with just everyday people, and we were all becoming different. We were beginning to have these abilities that I had read about and heard about and was amazed with, but I had never thought that I would be able to do them.
If you haven't noticed, listeners, there's been a common theme running through many of the episodes lately, which has been about finding spiritual freedom. Not only just finding spiritual freedom but for yourself, but obtaining that feeling of inner freedom. My guest today has lived some life, and he's found ways that have helped him find and feel his inner freedom. And he's on a mission to share that with others. His name is Richard Lassiter. Richard's mission is to enable others to rise to their potential. His spiritual thrust is, I am the freedom lover. He is uniquely qualified at helping people see, feel, and understand how they can free themselves from the bondage of limiting concepts. He became involved with the Wayshowers College community group work in 1973, while a member of the College of William and Mary's physics department. In 1976, he became involved full-time with the college. He has taught classes and consulted throughout the U.S., Canada, UK, Ireland, and New Zealand. He served as president of the college from 2000 to 2005 after the passing of the founder. He has found this training so life-changing that he has dedicated his life to sharing it with others. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you.
Well, where do we begin? How about sharing a little bit about your journey of how you came into this spiritual work and working with the Wayshowers College?
I have to credit my getting involved in my spiritual work to jealousy.
Okay, big J.
My son's preschool teacher was offering a program called the Inner Peace Movement, which is one of the older spiritual organizations on the planet. I'd never heard of it. I wasn't interested in that kind of thing, but I was married to a lady who was beautiful, and I didn't like her going places without me, so I went. And I was amazed. At the time, I was with the physics department of William and Mary. I had my own ideas of what life was about and all of this. And one thing led to another. Next thing I knew, I wasn't the same person anymore. It was fun.
Just all of a sudden, I'm different.
It just woke up. Yeah, that's really how it worked. I was having a good time in the community group work. I loved the people. I loved the techniques we were learning. If you know something, show me how to do it. Don't just tell me about it. And that's what this program did. They said, you're psychic. Let me show you how to unfold your psychic abilities. Okay, you can do that? I didn't know anyone could do that. I thought that was something reserved for special people with special talents that, touched by God or something like that. And here I was in a room with just everyday people, and we were all becoming different. We were beginning to have these abilities that I had read about and heard about and was amazed with, but I had never thought that I would be able to do them.
I think that's the thing that I love about the Wayshowers College, because I've obviously been involved for a couple years too, not as long as you have, but a couple years. And that the people that come there are normal. They're not what people might call woo-woo or strange, but they're there to really be sincere about learning about the spiritual part of their life. And you, Richard, you're a normal guy. You're not, hey, if you saw you on the street, you wouldn't say, oh, he's a spiritual, leader or a spiritual consultant or educator. No one would know. I mean, because you really are a normal guy, really embracing your spiritual side this lifetime and sharing that with others.
And that's pretty much it. Just, I'm
That's
like
it. We're
everyone
done.
else. Everybody is looking for ways to be happy and at peace and anywhere I've gone in the world, they have the same concerns. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want to take good care of my children. I want them to have a better life than I had. But basically, everyone's looking for inner freedom. They want to get back to that childlike love of life they had, because in my opinion, everyone has it in them. They can feel it there, but there's so much stuff piled on top of it over the years that, I don't know, lose hope.
Yeah. And I
This is
think
all
that's the
there
key.
is.
Right. And I think that's the key, is the feeling of it, because people can be out there spreading, oh, freedom and freedom this, but it's like, do you really feel free? I mean, in the midst of all the chaos in different realms and different places and energy and, you know, religion and the politics, it's like, how free do you really feel to be having the journey you're having right now? Don't you think that's part of it too, is really that feeling?
If I'm not feeling it, it's a concept.
Let's
It's
talk a
just
little
a
bit about
concept.
concepts.
It's just a concept. And that's what, in my opinion, at least in my life, the things I believed and the things I thought were truth were what kept me in bondage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that concepts around the difference between what love is and what love really is. Mm-hmm. Is it possessiveness? Is it staying with the same person your whole life, even though both of you are miserable? You know, is that love? You know, right. It's actually, and, you know, one day I realized that you can't give me love. All you can do is be the type of person that I feel relaxed enough around to let my love flow.
Ooh,
I
that's
have
awesome.
to do that, because that love that I feel for you, or for my son, or for a sunset, that's my feeling. That's flowing through me. So I choose whether I want to let that flow or whether I want to cut it off. And the thing that gets in the way are concepts of good and bad, right and wrong.
Likes and dislikes. That's a biggie. Likes and dislikes.
Yeah. I mean, good and bad. This is good, that's bad. I like this, I don't like that. Because everyone's sensitive. I go to a lot of spiritual meetups and things just to meet, try to find like-minded people. And in my opinion, an evaluation of a lot of what I see is people who have their intellect, their intelligent part knows that there's something about this, but how to get it into their feelings and become a part of their way of life is missing. So they replace that with the same stuff they're trying to get away from. You know, the sacred space. Well, everything's sacred. If anything's sacred, everything's sacred. Right. You know, what do you mean a sacred space? Yeah, I can only feel good here and not there. And I was at a meditation circle one time, and one guy there was kind of a kindred spirit. And after we'd meditated for a half hour or so, people started sharing, and he and I got on something that was common with us. And I would share, yeah, I know. And then he would share. And then this one guy sitting over there, I could feel him. He's going. Now, finally, I said, what's up? He said, here, I've just meditated, gotten into a good state. And now you two start talking and I have to go back and meditate again. Well, that's not the point of it, son. The point of it is to get there and take that with me and be that in any circumstance. Because I'm going to walk back out in the world, and if I'm going to live in the now and be spiritually free, the object of the game is to be that under all circumstances. You know, a good friend of mine told me years ago, he said, I don't try to be the same. I don't try to treat everyone the same. My goal is to be the same person with everyone. And think about that. That means that I show you the same love and respect that I show my daughter, that I show the mailman, that I show the UPS delivery, that I show the person who's acting in a way that I wouldn't act on the street. I stay me. And I quit letting what other people are doing or what other people believe or what other people's politics are affect that spiritual freedom that I have, that inner peace. And it takes commitment. It really does. It takes a lot of commitment.
No question. It takes commitment and sincerity. Sincerity to want to live your life that way, because a lot of people are, it's hard to get out of that suffering. It's hard to get out of that bondage of, being guilty about things you've done in the past or worrying about the future and not being in this present moment.
It's all training.
Exactly.
I have a 9-year-old and I retired 2 weeks after he was born. I retired from my profession, my money earning profession. And it's been a wonderful thing to spend that much time with an old soul in a young body and see how just going to school, they begin to, this is the way you do it, this is the way you do that, and begin to limit their freedom and their creativity. Now, we live in a society, I'm glad we have limits, I'm glad we have rules. I'd hate to get out here on the interstate and anyone could drive anywhere they wanted. Let's be real here. We need certain things so we can respect other people's boundaries. And society needs to put those things in place. But it's getting where in my country, the United States, it's almost like we are no longer the land of the free, but the land of the frayed. We're afraid we're going to get sued. My son's school, most of their policies are not for the betterment of the student, but to protect the school from lawsuits. It's that way everywhere. And I remember the first time I went to do programs in New Zealand, I got off the plane and within an hour, I was feeling something I hadn't felt since my childhood. It just was, I was happy, and I'm like, what the heck is this? And I realized they aren't afraid. They have a system that doesn't allow me to sue you unless you intentionally tried to hurt. If you put that rake on your front walk, knowing I was coming and that I would step there, I need to go to court and prove that before I can sue you. And so not many people get sued. And what it really does, it puts responsibility back on the individual. And that's what freedom is about.
So that's scary for a lot of people. Being able to make their own decisions and to be able to be really free and feel free, that does frighten a lot of people. Yeah. I don't know. I can't relate to that really well. I've never really experienced that in my life just because of the type of soul I am. But I believe it because I see it, and I saw a lady the other day and we were working with channeling, and she has this tremendous obligation to her brother. And she's like, she's a fully grown woman. This is not a young woman. And she's living her life based on this person's needs because she is afraid that without her, he'll have trouble. But by doing that, she's missing her whole life purpose. She's investing her life in someone else who, in my opinion, is somewhat taking advantage of that. And they don't realize that by worrying about whether he's going to get this apartment or whether they're going to do this for him, because he does have some issues that need to be addressed. He needs special housing and things. That she's unaware that, okay, the person who's doing that application and going to approve it, they're sensitive too. So when they're thinking about Joe Smo and you're worried about Joe Smo, they pick up something that may make them not check the box you want them to check. They don't understand how energy works. And so many of us, or at least in my life, I worked against myself
so long. I had to work hard, really put some effort into screwing up and making my life not nearly as fun as it can be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what spirituality, when it gets down to its purest form, that's what it is. It's fun to be psychic. I love it. It's fun to do, and it's rewarding to be able to heal people. And it's wonderful to be able to work with someone to tap their spiritual guidance and really help them in a place that no one else could reach for them. That's beautiful. But who I spend most of my time with is me.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to get that clear, that I need to be free inside. And that way I radiate that. And I radiate it to all the people around me. And like you said, all I have to do is show up, keep my mouth shut, and sensitive people will be like, who's that?
I want some of what he's
having. Ask a question. They'll want to, their inner guidance will just move them toward me.
Well, you'll be a wayshower. You'll be a wayshower to others. And I mean, to me, that feels like what we're all striving to be, is a positive wayshower. So that's kind of what I hear you saying.
Interesting word, wayshower. You know,
Let's
it's not in the dictionary.
I didn't know that.
The wayshower is a word that Dr. Francisco Cole, the founder of Wayshowers College, came up with.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked it up one day in the dictionary because I had a lot of people would come, what is this, wayshower or something? I'm thinking, y'all have never heard this before?
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, no, they haven't. They're doing their best to do it. But a wayshower is just a person who knows the way. They've done it for themselves. And they can point you in that direction. They don't come on with me kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a, if you want to come along, if you want to do that, here's the way I did it. It worked for me. If you want to give it a try, maybe some of that will work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it leaves things very non-judgmental. You can't fail that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't fail giving it a go, especially if the person who's pointing in the direction is giving you a tool that you can experience it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love, we have a technique, this technique, a spiritual cleansing technique.
Mm-hmm.
We don't show it to people until they have gotten a couple steps in the program, because it's so simple that I have to have released some of the banana peel around me in order to really appreciate what this technique just did for me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if and I've done this over my career, I've hit more stepping stones as a spiritual educator than I hope anyone else does, just because I'll try about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And when I would show people how to spiritually cleanse or check with their spiritual helpers or any of that, before the timing was right, then I understood the parable of throwing pearls before swine. They just weren't where they could appreciate it. Here, I've given you a tool that can help you stay relaxed and tuned in for the rest of your life, but I gave it to you too soon. And there's still too much of the outer influencing you, so you didn't really feel what just happened to your energy when you did this technique. So you're like, well, that's nice. And there I missed an opportunity to be of real service. It may be 10 or 20 years before that person comes back to that point where they're ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my spiritual. I'm glad Spirit gave me people to practice on. That's how I kind of have to look at it, or else I could feel guilty about it. I ruined that person's opportunity. But that's really little picture thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Bigger picture thinking is this road goes on forever and the party never ends. If I don't get it this lifetime, when I wake up from my death, I'll start organizing myself to come back and get the rest of what I wanted to do here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about the time we have right now, because this does feel like a very special time frame that all these souls that are actually here to be of service, like you, me, and many, many, many others on the planet. It's a special time. So in the perspective of people waking up and people finding their inner freedom and people learning how to work with some of these techniques that we use or many other techniques that are out there within the world, what difference have you noticed in the world and where we've come in, where we're at right now, from when you really started this work, since you've been doing this for several decades now?
Yeah. When I first started, I could get on any radio station I wanted, about any time I wanted. We were so unique, you know, and the buzzword at the time was teaching people to use their ESP. If I said I can do that, I was on radio in Washington, I was on television in Washington, Richmond, all over the United States, New Zealand, Europe. It was easy back in the 70s. So we've been really successful since, and I can best describe what's going on with one word: sea change. A sea change is a nautical term where two oceans or two large bodies of water meet. And where they meet, there's always this turbulence. And what's going on right now, this isn't the first time this has happened. It happened some time ago. It takes a long time for all of the pieces to get into place for this opportunity that we have right now to come into being. And it was best described to me as like, you know how when a clock goes up and it hits the new day, it's 12 o'clock midnight. The new day, the new day in a new week, in a new month, in a new year, in a new age. That's where we are right now. And along with that, if you look around, it looks like 2,000 years ago. Everybody's now become a psychic and a coach and a healer. And it was that way before. But here we come in with something a little different. We've come in here with something where I can't do it for you, but I'll show you how to do it for yourself. And that's really what everyone's looking for. No one wants to be dependent on their psychic or their life coach or their anything. I appreciate everyone who sits down and takes time to help me straighten out my shit. There have been a lot of people who've helped me straighten out my stuff. But no one has been able to do it for me. And the people I appreciate most are the ones who allow me to say, okay, here's what I see. Do you want to work on that? Yeah, I want to work on it. I want to work on it. And then I go away and I don't work on it. And they don't bug me about it. They respect my free will, because that's the sign to me of a high soul. And I really respect people who ask me, do I have permission to work with your spiritual life?
Right.
You know, or whereas I see a lot of people who'll just say, you know, I need some help. Oh, I can tell you what's wrong with you. That's
in a heartbeat.
That's not spiritually reverent. And what happens is the soul is so protective of its own energy. And I want to clarify that too. When I say the soul, I'm talking about the part of me that you can hear, that you can feel, the thing that animates this physical body. It's my body doesn't have a soul. My soul has a body. And around, if you can see it, that's me holding this together. And all of this stuff that I'm looking for my soul, well, just touch your hands together for a second and see it there. Feel that? That's you. That's what's missing when you see a cadaver. So that part of us is it is sensitivity. You know, I see a lot of people out there, I'm an empath. It's so hard for me. Okay, let me tell you what then. Instead of soaking it up, start radiating it out.
Mhm.
And then those empathic abilities, which we all have, you'll begin to see how they are the greatest tool that you have. Because as I radiate that energy out, then I can feel something that doesn't belong to me coming in enough time to just relax and let it float on out.
Mhm.
But a lot of people are trained to get over concerned about other people's situations or even my own situation. I can't get over concerned with it. That thing will kill you, Richard. Yeah, I hope not, but I've still got today.
Right.
And if it does, I'll get a new one of these.
Right.
You know, and it's just, life is fun.
Mhm.
If I'm not having fun, I'm doing something wrong. And that is as challenging a phrase as love one another.
Mhm. Mhm.
At least as challenging.
Definitely.
So I go up here I walk Liam to school. We live within walking distance of his school. He's in the 4th grade. And I'll go up there and here they come out the door, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, only up to 5th grade, still very much in their feelings.
Mhm.
I don't see a single one of them walk out. They're like, and
I'm
they're
free.
moving and having fun. And
Mhm.
I recognize that. So that's part of me.
Mhm.
I'm driving a 1946 model physical body here.
Mhm.
So I have to take better care of it
Mhm.
than I did when it was only 20 years old or 30 years old or 40 years old or 50 years old.
Mhm.
But if I do take care of it, it stays light.
Mhm.
It doesn't get kind of energy about it. But I have to invest that time in the gym, going for walks, riding my bicycle, stretching, I have to do more today. I have to do things Liam doesn't even have to do.
Right.
He can get up in the morning and fall down the stairs and bounce up and run outside,
Mhm.
So it's just, if I want to be the real me and be free of all the stuff that a 76-year-old's supposed to be experiencing,
Mhm.
I can do that, but I have to earn it.
Mhm.
I have to earn everything I get here on planet Earth. I have to earn my spiritual freedom back.
Mhm. And you have to want it,
I
which
have to want
clearly
it.
you
I
do.
have to get
Yeah.
tired of suffering. I have
Right.
to get tired of feeling bad. And some people pass on feeling bad. And I'll bet you, I can't say this with any authority, but I'll let you know when I come back next lifetime.
Mhm.
But I'll bet you, the minute they awaken from their death, they go like, crap, I didn't have to do any of that.
Right. Right. Oh my
I
gosh,
could have
this
had
place.
fun.
Right.
I need to get back there and have fun,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know?
Without a doubt. And I think that also comes into play as well, especially with the Wayshowers College. For myself, I found that it's not complex. It's simple. It's down to earth. It's just like you're saying, it's really the universal truths. And it's just how to really be a soul in a physical body and just move through this world, that I'm relaxed, having fun, and my true feelings, and I'm radiating that positive light. That's my goal this lifetime, and some enthusiasm, because I love enthusiasm. And so for a lot of people, that's challenging, and that's okay, because there are all kinds of levels of consciousness. And there are other people in the world who are sharing different variations of what does other people need. And so I'm sharing that because Tom and I have been doing a lot of metaphysical fairs lately. And we've come across, and I've specifically come across a lot of people who want me to tell them, can you give me a reading? Can you tell me something? And that's not my job. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to help them step into what their gifts and how to work with them and how to embrace working with their guidance and getting their own answers, which is what I've heard you say. And that is so important for myself and what I'm here to do, because I'm And like you said, I mean, I give my hats off to all the people who are empathic, who are being psychic mediums and all the stuff they're out there in the world doing. But that's not what I've come to do. I've really come to help, like you, that spiritual freedom, helping people awaken to the gifts that God gave them and what they're here to really embrace. Having a damn good time, right? I mean, and living up to their spiritual potential, which is what I want to talk a little bit about next, Richard, is spiritual potential. Would you like to give a definition of what spiritual potential is for you?
To me,
Yeah.
it's pretty much the things I've been saying all along. It's getting back and expressing the real me, the unique me, living my thrust. And when I'm not expressing the real me, it's communicating without color. In other words, I'm not letting what I think you might want me to say even come into my mind. It's what do I want to say? How do I want to respond? What are my feelings about the question you just asked? My potential is to be there, but it's limitless. I'm going to put a word in here that you haven't used yet. What is that word? When you finally make it, what do they call that? Enlightenment.
Enlightenment. Gotcha.
Okay.
That Buddha thing.
Well, I mean, that's a word a lot of people understand. It's supposed to be a goal, but it's not really, because I have been enlightened a lot this lifetime. And I enjoyed that for a day or two, and then I got bored with it. I got bored with the state of consciousness at which I am. So I started creating more opportunity or more challenges or something to, okay, I can feel this good. I bet I can feel better.
Right. Up the game, man. Up the game.
So really, spiritual potential, I think if I had to define it, it's fully accepting myself as I am in the moment and realizing there's always more. That's really where it's at. And of course, learning to use my intuition, vision, prophecy, and feeling, that's important, because here a lot of us are disabled. You know, you have 5 physical senses. Yes, I do, but they're a reflection of 4 main spiritual abilities: the eyes I see with when I don't have a body, the ears I hear with when I don't have a body, the ability to sense and feel, the ability to heal, to radiate that out. All of those come together, and usually souls who are relearning this relearn it rather quickly, because it's innate and natural in us. So if you're like you and I are, and know techniques that can help people see auras and hear their guidance and do all this, people think that, wow, they think we're amazing because we're helping them do something they can do. You know, but there comes a point where now we need to get down to what's really holding me back, which are, like you said, my concepts, the things that get stimulated. So I'm always feeling and sensing. So if I wish I could come up with a good example. I'm kind of excited right now.
Are you enthusiastic, Richard? It's okay.
But if a person comes up to me and I feel something, I get some kind of feeling from them. If I stay relaxed and tuned in and discern, what is that I'm feeling? You know, is it I've known this person before? This is a person I can work with. This is a person I can have some fun with. This is a person that is a threat to me. I can sense that and go, okay, and then act accordingly. But if I immediately go, oh, I like this person, or I don't like this person, now I've cut off my feelings. I've moved into likes and dislikes. And most of what I'm going to do with that is going to be a little bit off target,
Mhm.
if not a lot, you know,
Yes.
and it just takes a lot of experience. It takes experience to learn how to work with that, to learn how not to suffer.
Mhm.
It just really does. I have to get tired of suffering,
Mhm.
and I have to get tired of hurting. I have to get tired of divorces. I have to get, I have to get and that's what a soul really wants to change. So when we get to the nitty gritty, that's when being more patient with myself and accepting with myself. And that's where the techniques in like the percentage of balance in the glandular system profile and things like that, that allow me to reinforce every day or twice a day if I need to, the concept that will heal me and begin replacing the concept that will harm me. In the same way with the blockage profile, if a person comes and gets a blockage profile from us, they feel really good, but then they go back out in the world and we've taken the cake out of the oven. The oven isn't cold yet. That oven was 400 degrees. Well, maybe the cake is 325. So, but that's hot. It takes it a while to cool off. So the metal hits the road where when a person goes back out there, has that block hit and goes, aha, that's that block. And consciously goes, I am not catering to that. I'm going to do this. And they do this and do it's gone. It's not gone. None of me is ever gone. None of the good, bad, ugly, beautiful is ever gone. It's just I build on top of that different energy to where that energy is not really visible, but it's still part of my experience base. I am the sum total of everything I've ever done throughout eons of time. So to me, that's where we separate the people who really want to grow from those who are not quite ready, because everybody wants to grow. They just don't want to grow in my timing. And that's something as a spiritual leader, I really need to learn to respect, because my spiritual helpers, my angels, they respect that about me. They don't come in here that, come on, Richard, that's enough of your disorganization. You need to do this, this, and this, you know, or you're going to hell. They don't do that. You know, they just kind of, oh, here he goes again. You watch him today, will you?
I'll take this watch off. It's your guys' time now.
They're very patient. And I need to learn to be patient with myself as I grow so that I can be patient with others as they grow. And that's what love is all about.
And that's a really good place to, a good message for the listeners is just being patient with yourself, wherever you're at, whatever you're experiencing. And then also, you know, doing that with other ones around you, because boy, there's a lot going on these days, as we know, and there always has been. It's not like, you know, I mean, it's just different variations of things, right? There's always something going on the planet. It's what we're here to learn and grow with, but just being
Not like
patient.
this. It's been a long time since it's been like this.
It has been.
To me,
yes.
As a spiritual soul who's been doing this work a lot, this is exciting stuff. That's why there's so many souls here on planet Earth right now. They want to be a part. They just want to feel this. They know that their time to go through this is coming down the road. So they're here.
Yeah. And then I've heard a lot also waiting to get on the planet. So it's like both ways. There's a lot here, a lot waiting to get in. So it's definitely, it's an amazing time that we're here to help people, you know, expand themselves and step into their true self and their true feelings and experience that spiritual freedom. So let's talk a little bit about the spiritual freedom, because the videos, Awaken and Discover video series, because you had a big part in that. And that's an amazing collection of beautiful videos that people can access and really get a lot out of. So would you like to share a little bit about that, Richard?
Yeah. Tiger Cole, who is the president of Wayshowers College, he's been talking about making, we've had lectures with doors in for people where they can come in and kind of get introduced to the college, what we do, what we think, how we act, and see if it's a good fit. And he'd been talking about having a not a woman, not a man, nothing, a stick figure, you know, a totally benign entity, do the lecture on a video. And I thought, that's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard, Tiger. I didn't say it to him, but I really thought likes and dislikes,
right.
you know, I don't like that. So he came to my house back in April, and he brought a flash drive with a black stick figure on a white background. And a friend of ours, Will Hamilton, who was in audio production for years, had done a voiceover of content that Tiger and a team of others, I think, I'm going to name names because I think they deserve it. Esther Carhu and Vicky Shreves and probably some others that I'm not aware of, but I know that that group really put a couple years into this, refining it and stuff. So I got this and I looked at it. You know, he said, can you turn this into something nice? You know, post-produce what they'd done. He'd put on an anatomic suit, and he had done off cue cards, I believe. I think that's what he told me. I could be wrong about that, but somehow he acted out Will's words as the voiceover went over, and that's what I got. And he's a former Navy SEAL, and he's very fit. And so the movement of the stick figure, first I noticed, were very fluid. It was very good, but the timing was off. It was a mess. So he and I worked on that together for months. And then, you know, he would fly out here and we would work in my studio, and then he would go back and then he'd come back. And finally we got it to where we thought it was presentable. And then we spent another year refining that. But the whole idea was that what I'm sharing right now, I had this come in a minute ago. If you want to grow quickly, find yourself a Wayshowers College certified professional. There are a lot of them, you know.
Like you and I and Tom.
Yeah, and our friends, you know,
right.
We've
all over the place.
All over the place. So and now with Zoom and stuff, you can learn. But I just wanted to put that in there because I'll tell you, I have looked at everything. I still do. I seek this stuff out. I haven't found anything really that will helps me grow this quickly. But we needed to get this message of what we have the Awaken series, which is 6 videos, and they're free. Just go get them. And those 6 videos will give you a pretty good understanding of where we're coming from. And then there's another 14 videos that you can buy for way cheaper than they're worth. It's like, it's below $50, and you've got lifetime access. And they're all between 6 and 4 minutes long. But they go over literally everything you need to know to accomplish your life purpose on planet Earth in 16 compact, pure energy videos. They're really, really good. You're going to look at them and go, I'd been doing this stuff for over 45 years when Tiger brought these into me. I've given these lectures and done all this. And I looked at that content, even with that black stick figure on that stark white background, I'm going, this is really good, Tiger. This is, I showed him to a Baptist preacher friend of mine, and he didn't offend him at all. It's hard not to offend a Baptist preacher. No disrespect, but it is that there's stuff in there but I showed him to him, and he's like, this is interesting. Because
excellent.
It's that pure. The content was reduced and boiled down to where we can take something like the real you, the universe, and put that in a 5-minute video in such a way that you go, the cycles of life. And so the goal is to get as much of this, get this out to as many people as possible, because there is confusion on planet Earth right now. You're sensitive, and it's like you're swimming in polluted water. And we don't even know it. So this is the purifier. If there's a certain point where we need a little confusion and stuff here, because that's what we're here to do. This school's about learning not to be confused.
Yes.
But we don't need as much as is here now. And we don't need it permeating to the depth that it permeates. So there are a lot of people who are wasting the opportunity they have here to accomplish something for themselves spiritually that will last forever. Forever. I'll never come back to planet Earth not knowing how to work with my guidance or use my psychic abilities, because I learned how to do that here. What
Definitely.
I learn here, I keep here. Every time I come in here, because I've evolved as a soul. It's not a concept. It's not something I've read about. It's something I've done.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what these videos are for. They're called the Spiritual Freedom Series. And the first set, the Awaken set, is free. The Discover set, which really is discovering you, they're $30. And you have lifetime access. And I have watched all of them probably more than anyone on earth, because I had to edit them. And I watch them over and over and over. And I still, once a week, I'll watch them. They're that powerful to me. And they keep me grounded in the reality of why I'm really here and what's really important. You know, is it
Beautiful.
important to win that argument?
Nope.
What's important, you know?
Right.
What's important, you know, my son came in the other day, he was upset, and I said, well, you're being weak, Liam. And he's one of the strongest little kids I know, but luckily he's a very gentle, strong kid. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, anybody can be upset. I said, it takes a lot of strength to go and do something that you know you have to do, and to do it with joy. That's what strength is. And what you're doing right now is weakness. I don't like to see you weak, Liam. And he went off and did it. But that's what we do, you know. Somebody, okay, I'm caught. Damn it. Now there's the moment of decision. Do I turn around and fight it, or do I go, and they're right?
And move on.
Yeah.
Learn that, got that lesson next. Because there's a lot to do here. Well,
Yep,
Richard, I appreciate you so much coming on today. And thank you for the videos, for doing those amazing videos. And I do offer them.
Hey, look, what I did with those videos, any professional could do. The real credit for those videos are the team, you know, Tiger and Esther and Vicky, and particularly Tiger, who got the creativity from Spirit and had the patience to go through word for word and check with Spirit, is this word the right word? Is this the right word?
Right.
Is this the right word?
Right.
And that I know that's what happened. Go listen to them. You have.
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
I mean, yeah, they're amazing things. So yeah, I mean, I enjoy doing it. I'm glad people like, you know, the end product, but I really, like I said, any professional video person could have done maybe even a better job than I did, because I had to learn it as I went.
Right. And so also for the listeners, if they want to get in touch with you, I'll have your website, I'll have your Instagram, Facebook, all that in the show notes. So if you guys resonate with working with Richard Lassiter and finding out what he's got to offer for you, and, you know, doing some consultations and, hey, uplifting that spiritual freedom within you, Richard is the man to go to. So thank you so much, Richard.
If you're in Virginia, Richmond area, you know, I can probably see your house from here.
So thank you so much, Richard, for coming on today and sharing.
I appreciate the opportunity to outflow.
It's a good thing, right?
Hey, there's nothing that a little or a lot of outflow won't heal.
Booyah to that. Thank you, Richard.
You bet. Take care, Teresa. Thanks so much. Give Tom my love.
Will do. Thank you so much for listening to or watching on YouTube another episode of Enthusiastically Spiritual. It was such a wonderful time having Richard here today and sharing about spiritual freedom and all about being a soul in a physical body. So please, if you have not already liked this episode, make sure you do. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and don't miss any of the upcoming episodes that are released every Tuesday. Also, if you would like to support this show, you can by finding the link in the show notes that says support this show. And until next week, please remember that life is too short to not be enthusiastic about your unique journey.